Good morning, everyone. Thank you for jumping into what is now episode 3. Thanks for joining so far. We've had very good responses and really good feedback. And a quick ask at the top of the session for today is during episode 2, and we've been very clear about sending out some follow-up activity and questionnaires just to really help us shape kind of future events, and that directly the feedback that you give us for those sessions from those questionnaires impacts the kind of the future course. So it's the kind of things that you want to hear about that are important. So if anyone hasn't filled those in already, I think we've only had a couple of responses back on the second session. But if you could just spend a couple of minutes filling those in, it would be greatly appreciated. As the questionnaire says, it is anonymous, so please feel confident that that data is not going to be shared anywhere. But it'll be very helpful for us to be able to gather that information to inform the next session, which we'll be hoping to run in the next few weeks. So long weekend ahead for the people in the UK, so all looking forward to that. And we're going to crack on in a minute with the session today, which is focusing on the follow-up really from the HighQ forum that took place over 2 days of last week. There was a huge amount of information that was given during that session. I know we invited a lot of our customers to attend, and I know from a Contract Express perspective, a lot of people did come along. I think we had over 2,500 attendees across the HighQ community on those forum days, so it was a very well attended event. Some summary videos and some highlights from those sessions are being condensed and will be shared with everybody. Probably, if we're lucky, we may get them today, but if not, then certainly next week, and we'll make sure that we share that with you along with a table of contents, hopefully, so that you can jump to specific points if you want to hear about the integration, etc. But we just thought today would be a good idea to get some feedback and questions from you to people that did attend to see what you'd thought, or if there was any immediate questions that came up from that. And I guess, to kick things off, I guess one of the questions that I've been asked already, Joanne, and I'm sure you have as well, is how are things going to be affected from a commercial perspective? And maybe you could start off by running through that particular point.
Yes, thanks, Bruce. So at the moment, the teams are still working through what the commercials will look like and what that model is. So it's still being reviewed, and the plan is to finalise that and share the details with everyone by August. That is subject to the release that's taking place in HighQ 5.4 in August. So hopefully that answers anyone's questions regarding the commercials. And of course, as soon as that information is available, we will be sharing that if we know that you're interested in learning more about that. So I'm just going to share a couple of slides off the back of the forum last week, and then we'll give everyone an opportunity to ask any other questions. So hopefully you would have seen this at the forum, and as Bruce said, we will be sharing the recordings shortly. But just in case you didn't, so from HighQ 5.4, you will be able to go into HighQ and access documents from a template. And then when you click through to documents from a template, you will be shown your Contract Express template list. So the templates would need to be associated with that site. So you wouldn't see a full list of all the templates that are available. It would only be the templates that you have linked to that particular HighQ site. And then you would select the template that you would like to start creating. So in this case, the non-disclosure agreement. And then you will be taken into the document with the same view that you would usually have within the HighQ, within the Contract Express environment. So it is slightly slicker, as the product team, of course, described it. So we've got the less of the blue highlighting that you had seen previously in standalone Contract Express. So we've just made the questionnaire appear slightly better. And again, it is the same experience as you would have in standalone Contract Express when you're in the questionnaire. So you can preview that and hide the preview and work your way through the questions. And then when you save and close that, everything is saved within the HighQ environment. So that is a very brief overview from me. So then, as Bruce said, if you have any questions, you can either raise a hand, but there's a little hand on the Teams page, or you can send them in on the chat, and we'll be happy to answer those.
Yeah, thanks, Joanne. And just a kind of a quick kind of recap as well, just to alleviate any nagging doubts or particular queries. That if you've got, as the majority of you do, have standalone Contract Express at the moment, that is going to continue to operate and function as normal. This particular integrated version is simply an option that you will be able to take advantage of moving forward. But it's not necessary that come August, come the integration date, that you need to make a decision to immediately move into this environment. You can continue to use standalone Contract Express, whether it be on a single tenant, multi-tenant, or on-prem instance. And similarly, you can still continue to use HighQ document automation as well. You don't need to use this integrated offering. As things progress, as future versions come out, we are anticipating that the integrated version will become more and more compelling, and therefore it may make sense at some point to think about getting that migration over. But it's certainly not something that you need to do day one. So just to be aware of that. So yeah, that was just a quick point that I wanted to cover off.
Yes, thank you, Bruce. So do we have any questions? Wow, that must mean that it's very clear, and hopefully everyone is comfortable with the plans that we have.
I guess for me, Joanne, just thinking of some of the conversations that I'd had, and just to kind of pick up on a couple of points. A couple of people have been asking around, obviously, if they've got Contract Express currently, once this new version, this integrated version in the HighQ environment comes about, does that mean that future enhancements or developments for Contract Express, or indeed HighQ document automation, will stop and everything will just be in this new environment, or how do you think that's going to work?
Thanks, Bruce. So there is still a roadmap for standalone Contract Express that the product team will be planning and working to. So standalone Contract Express will still be supported, maintained and enhanced as it is today. And for HighQ Doc Auto, I don't believe there are any enhancements that are currently planned in the foreseeable future, but that will always be continue to be maintained and supported.
Yeah, that's great, and that's that's an important point as well, that there isn't a hard stop here, and just to kind of reinforce that point as well. Another thing I just wanted to kind of cover off as well, and I forgive me if I'm wrong, Joan, but I don't think we've got the full answers to this yet. But do we have any visibility for people that were interested in taking advantage of the integration come launch day in August? Is there any visibility around what that migration path and support would look like to move them onto the new instance? If you had any insight or hearing anything around that at all?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because it could be that come the time when Contract Express becomes available via HighQ, some customers may be interested in using that, but also continuing with their standalone Contract Express. So we're still working through what the migration path would look like, working through that detail, but I can confirm that we will be supporting all customers through that process. And I will certainly be helping project manage that and making sure that you have all of the information required to support those changes prior to making any. So yeah, as you say, we're still working through the detail, but as soon as that becomes available again, we'll be sharing that and slowly working through the detail with each customer, as I know it will be a different scenario for each firm.
That's brilliant. There's been a couple of questions that have come through on the chat. I don't know if you can see those, Joanne.
Yes. Yeah. So for those who stay on standalone Contract Express, will there be any improvements to the current integration with HighQ? That's a good question, and I'll certainly take that one back to the product team. So today you can import and export from HighQ and Contract Express. So I will take that back to the product team to ask if they are also planning on any improvements there. It'll be good to know a bit more detail around what you would like to see or how that could be improved as well. Thank you, Richard. And then will we have access to the Contract Express sandbox prior to release? So for those customers that have an on-premise version of Contract Express, we usually encourage you to use your development environment to test things. So we would need to speak to the product team, but yes, there will be the sandbox available to use prior to the release, I'm sure. So we'll share more information on that when that's available. So will the better analytics functions in HighQ be added to standalone Contract Express? I don't think that's currently in the plans, but again, I'll take that one back to the product team to confirm. So I guess that is one of the enhancements and fantastic functionality that's available within the HighQ environment. The richness of the analytics and data is more advanced in Collaborate compared to standalone Contract Express at the moment. So again, let me take that back to the product team and see if there's any plans there. And it would also be helpful to know a bit more around what you would like to see. So I'll follow up with you after that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. There have been some good questions, and thanks, Joanne, for kind of chairing and sharing this detail. As mentioned at the top of the session, once the summary videos and some of the questions, I think there were, I don't know if I got this right, Joanne, but I think there were something like 60 or so questions that came up during Andy Wishart's presentation on the integration during the HighQ forum, and I think a lot of them fell into certain themes. But they couldn't address every single one of those during the live forum session. So those have been collated and will be included as part of the video that has the summary of the presentation, but also going through a number of the questions. So if there's nothing else that you can think of immediately now on this session, I'm sure that they would have been covered off by peers of yours that potentially have come up and may even indeed spark some other ideas or questions from yourselves. So yeah, that's been very helpful. Thank you, Joanne. Just to kind of re-emphasize, to fill in the questionnaire, what I'll probably do is just politely ask Joanne if she wouldn't mind maybe resending the questionnaire from episode 2, just so that it bumps up everyone's inbox again. And if you could spend a couple of minutes, it would be very, very greatly appreciated. Joanne, I don't know if you had any other slides or any other bits to say. If you don't, then I guess from me, just to say thank you very much again for your support in attending the session today, and have if you're in the UK, certainly have a fantastic long weekend.
And I think they've got a long weekend in the US as well, so they've got Monday's bank holiday. So right. Yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic long weekend. And yeah, if you think of any questions after this session, then please feel free to reach out to us. And also, if you have any insights into other things you'd like to cover on Coffee and Contract Express, we would really welcome that. And we hope you enjoyed last week's session with Anna Turner as well. And we will certainly be getting her back because there's a lot more for her to share as well. So thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.